We'll call the meeting to order. Start with the pledge. Morning, everybody. Agenda, Commissioner Heiser, do you have any additions?
Yes,
Commissioner Olson?
No.
Commissioner Kleeman?
jobs.
And what I got, well, I think we get covered in road department, so. Sally, you have anything else? We do have the Historical Society will stay tabled, and the holiday fire and ambulance will get moved to the 16th. Weeds? Any other corrections or additions? Not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve the agenda with additions.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Minutes of the last meeting. Everybody's had a chance to read them.
Move to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
You want to?
Anybody that's under with state radio, whether it's fire and law enforcement, do I really have to write that down? For those people that use proper etiquette on the radio, they talk slow so that we can understand them. They run their mobile units without much interruption. We're always there for them when they need it, obviously. But there's ones that go above and beyond, let us know a little bit of the details outside of the call because we don't always get that information. So their peers within state radio nominates, whether I said it's an officer, it can be from PD, SO, High Patrol, Fire, Ambulance, any of those responders can be nominated. So this year's nominations, we should have done this a couple of months ago. We had some change in positions at work, so we're late on this, but Deputy Sanders was nominated and then voted as the MUI Operator of the Year for North Dakota State Radio. So we are here today to present him with an award.
No, I guess Shelby, the technology manager from North Radio, and Stacy, we're here on behalf of presented and out of
Present you with your award. I'm Stacy. Nice to meet you.
You want to turn around and
yeah. You want to turn around for me?
you got a photo op. Two good looking women.
Yeah, ladies, there you go, you guys.
Make him feel special today.
Great, thank you, you guys. Thank you.
Side note, sometimes we like to pick. Had an event. He was dropping off a prisoner at Stark. Done with his prisoner. My assistant at the time was training, and she goes from across the room, "We'll page your fire department." And it had nothing to do with a fire or a dumpster at all.
It was a string.
It was horrible. So we don't do a little dumpster fire quickly.
I could come to my dash. I appreciate this.
You want a 5-minute speech now? You want a 5-minute speech?
10 if
Okay, we got it.
No, first I would like to thank sometime. I appreciate everything.
Thank you, and thanks for serving us. And thanks to the whole sheriff's department. I think they all deserve the awards they get and the recognition, so thanks for the job you do. Okay, we'll go to the engineers. Carl. Switch him up before our IT guy off.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning. Morning.
Few things to discuss today. 92nd Avenue, we're just gathering up the final easements for that project. I do anticipate bid opening here in the next month. Maybe we're looking at, depending on that one final easement goes. Commissioner Heiser, as I understand, is helping secure that easement with the one questionable landowner as far as the easement agreements go. My conversations with him, he said he would sign, but had a few things he wanted to discuss with the commission, so I'll leave it right there. 12th Street, a couple of, maybe a handful of easements left to obtain on that one. Trying to get those meetings scheduled right now. I think that one will be bid probably shortly after the 92nd Avenue project, with potential to be at the same meeting. 16th Street, no update really, but I did have a conversation with the landowner recently. He showed support for the project. Otherwise, we have that one cultural site that we're just trying to figure a design around, which really there isn't a design around. It's so close to the road, but trying to work through a remedy, I suppose, would be the right term. Reviews right now and moving into our final design and plan sheet development for that. Working on getting the permit application put together. I think we'll have minimal conflict on that one. I'd anticipate that one to be bid by the end of the year. I don't know if they'd get construction started on it this year, but certainly by the end of the calendar year. 86th and 9th Street and 98th Avenue. Not a lot to update on those for you guys. We're just kind of working through the designs and working to avoid the environmental and cultural areas on those projects. On the 2026 projects, we're just finishing up the survey on 79th, Verde of 94th complete, and start beginning our preliminary design this year on those projects. We do have the environmental and cultural surveys completed, but we still are waiting on the reports for those. Any question on anything project specific? Just a few miscellaneous items. We did complete and submit that gravel pit reclamation plan as requested by the county on Monday to Terry Schwarzenberger. Another thing note, I did recently drive through that 100th Avenue Northwest project. The grass is coming up very nicely, and I do anticipate the fencing to be done on that here in the next few months, so that can be final here hopefully by this fall. So no other questions. That's all I have for you guys.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Darren?
All right. Some items as well. We can start with 14th Street. So it's our understanding that Schwartz continues work on the project. Joel's back here too. I think the pipes that were installed incorrectly or installed correctly. That work is finished. The NDOT was out. They reviewed our plan for the fix on the extension of the center line on Highway 22. That maintained the drainage pattern and the location to work with the culverts on 14th. They were happy with what was done, so all of that is addressed. On June 20th, and Commissioner Heiser and Commissioner Pelton, you can update me too. I was attending a funeral for a family member, but there was an on-site meeting with a landowner out there who lives on the project regarding some additional requested road profile adjustments and removal of the centerline pipe. The changes amounted to lowering the road profile and removing the centerline pipe in that low area. Sound correct? I believe that was done. With that, then we have a pay request in the amount of $211,249.92 for Schwartz Construction, and we're recommending approval. And I have that for you too.
I guess I'll move to pay estimate number 3 to Schwartz Construction, the amount of $211,249.92.
There's a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is any more discussion? Not, we'll have roll call.
Commissioner Heiser?
Yes.
Commissioner Olson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman? Commissioner Pelton?
Yes.
Very good.
Well, I guess it's been put on the agenda by Commissioner Dalzell, so I would like to discuss some of the issues we've had out there.
Sure.
I mean, I got a whole list of them here. I guess I can read them off, but, one big thing was by the DOT, the pipe, we had to lengthen it and stuff, and that was not in the set of plans, so that was a big error.
Correct.
And, then we had to relay the center line pipe, that big deep pipe. Another issue was a double 60-inch. We laid it, it was too high. And then, so they lowered it and they told you, well, it's gonna need some length, so that was a total disaster. And then we put approach pipes on top of hills. Elevation staking on approach pipe was wrong. We had 5,000 yards of borrow dirt, then it turned to 18. We got long hauls. I can go on and on. We put straw wattles on top of hills where they had no business being. I've been in this business my entire life. I've never seen a project so misdesigned, and I really feel bad for the contractor of what he had to go through. We pay a inspector to sit out on that job all day long to watch what goes on. I really honestly believe that Schwartz Construction is very capable of moving dirt without having somebody hold their hand. And then when there's a pipe should be staked, that needs to be staked, and it's wrong. So I sometimes wonder, why should we even pay an inspector to be out there? Because this job has been a disaster, Darren, to say the least, and I'm not very happy about it. It goes on and on and on. Our contractor has been delayed. He's going to be delayed on Jim's project coming up. So I sometimes wonder in the past how many of these issues were on other projects that were never brought to head. I mean, like I said, I've done this kind of work my whole life, so I kind of take real interest in what goes on. And so, I mean, I don't need a bunch of these excuses, but we have other projects, and all I can say is this better not happen again.
Sure. Commissioner Heiser, like I said, I understand your frustration on that, and it's definitely not our crown jewel of projects. If you guys recall, we are paying for any mistakes that we did make. I understand that too. And Schwartz has been good to work with too. I understand your inspector. I think our inspector is a little hard-headed on some of those things too. That's been brought to my attention after the fact. Again, so he's directed to work with the contractor instead of taking it as an adversarial type approach, kind of how he had been brought up, and that was a mistake as well. So again, all of those incorrections are being paid for on our dime, and that's how we have him learn. I understand your frustration too, and I think I've relayed that to you.
I've had calls from the public wondering why we're doing things twice, and their assumption is the county's paying for it the second time. They don't know when they drive by, but
Sure.
If you back up and look at this project, the bid price was $1,566,000. Time we put the engineering in to date, it's almost $250,000 for engineering and construction. Box culvert was $300,000, so we got $2.1 million in a road that's 2.3 miles long.
Sure.
I really think, guys, we gotta look at these roads to really warrant skinning these things up. We can't spend $2 million for a mile for 3 people or 4 people to to travel. So
Sure.
we need to figure this out, because this is unacceptable as far as I'm concerned, so. I've said my piece, I'm done.
So Commissioner Heiser, so we obviously don't make a determination of what road improvement.
I get that.
So-
That's on us, not on you. You were
Sure.
told to design this, you designed it, so.
Sure. And so I guess if you're talking about engineering charges and whatnot, or the cost of the project, kind of like what you said, you got a really good bid from Schwartz. That was probably considerably less than what the competing bids were, along with the cost of the box. So you're looking at roughly 1.9 to $2 million, I believe is what the probably the construction costs were. I think our engineering fees right now, what you said, about 245, 250, is that what you had said?
About 245,000.
Okay, so rough math, around 2 million or 1.9 million, I think we're at about what, 12, 13%, somewhere in that range, which on a project that goes smoothly is acceptable. This project did not go smoothly. You had a number of landowners that required a lot of extra care, two in particular. That required multiple site visits, multiple negotiations, multiple redesigns. So as far as your statement about the road project costing too much to serve a few people, I can't argue with that.
No.
But as far as our fees, we're more than in line with what our fees should be. If that's being questioned right now. All we're trying to do is work as a team and get through this and move on to the next project.
Well, let's hope the next one isn't like this one, so
Agreed.
I would really recommend you to go check your grades and pipe elevations and make sure this does not happen again.
Already done, but yes, duly noted.
All right, enough said.
Anything else?
Okay, continuing. I have these pay requests for Schwartz here for you too. So on 119th, that is the next project that will be starting. So CSI is planning for an early to mid-August start date on that. They still haven't formally committed to that for the official date, but we'll keep you posted once we receive the notice. We have already had the pre-con a while ago on that one. In the meantime, we're working with utilities on their associated relocation, particularly Mackenzie Electric and Consolidated. Yesterday, we did get an email from Marathon Pipeline indicating that they are going to be hydrovacing some of their pipelines to confirm depth, but we're pushing to get them done. We've had issues with utility companies not getting their stuff out of the way, so all we can do is try to keep on ringing them. But questions on 119th? Next is 99th. If you recall, we had a couple meetings with the State Historical Preservation Office and the Corps. So it looks like those actually were pretty beneficial, and they're loosening their requirements on what's going to be done, and they're going to accept the fill over the cultural sites. They're asking for some monitoring, and I think you had something similar back on one of your projects. I'm looking for a cost from Beaver Creek. They're supposed to get something to me here in the next couple of days, but I can let you know what that is. So it looks like they're ready to approve that. One thing that did pop up, so since the enactment of the new right-of-way policy that we have, when we're not getting permanent right-of-way and when everything is kind of a temporary construction easement, we now need to purchase 0.46 acres of wetland credits in the amount of $39,100. Before, we were going to do on-site mitigation and permanent right-of-way, but now that that's gone, we need to get those credits. So I would ask for a motion to approve those credits.
We get a question before we make that motion. Did you put together an engineer's estimate? What do you think this project's going to cost?
I did not.
Because this is
there probably is one, I suppose back at the office, I don't have it with me, but kind of all that stuff with the cultural issues that popped up and the core issues that popped up. Once you have something like that pops up, spiral, and I'm assuming this one probably has spiral.
This is another project that's going to be very spendy, so if you're going to haul dirt from one end to push over this fabric, I'm just really curious
Sure.
what this project's going to cost.
I can get you some now. Yep, no problem.
I think
I think you're right, because it's gonna have to be borrowed dirt.
So I think we should have an estimate first.
Sure.
I don't know what the board feels. I don't want to make decisions for the whole board, so I mean, if you got something to, like I say, we're spending a lot of money on projects, and don't get me wrong, I think a lot of them are good, and sometimes I wonder if we don't over-design them, maybe to a different speed limit or something, but it just.
So our standards, what we're directed to do is design all roads to 45 miles an hour. That's what the county standard is, and we don't deviate from that without board. That's how we go forward.
Mr. Chairman, I think that'd be a good idea for all these projects, so we kind of know what we're going to put into them before we start.
I think we've got somewhat of a template just to kind of get a rough, I mean, it's really hard to nail it down, but at least get a kind of an idea of, when a fee and a proposal, and so we kind of know what path we're heading down.
Well, and like you were saying, building a road for 3 people. I mean, if we're doing a 5 or 6 mile road that goes from one point to another, maybe we need to make it just a little bit better.
Well, and I get these 3 people are just as important as the road that got 6 people on, but I think some of these could maybe be a small scale project to fix some snow traps and just fix some of them up instead of
A lot of them are safety issues, I mean, so.
Yeah, you've already got a lot of projects in the works already. I don't think you want to try to start scrapping projects.
No,
or
no, I
anything right
don't. Like
now.
I said, that's,
So you can definitely work on, say, the 2026 or 2027s, take a look at them in depth before you pick which ones they're going to be.
we are, because I think Terry has we directed Terry to pull out the list we have, see which ones we've already invested in, and the ones that we have not got anything, then really take a look at them. And like I said, it's fortunate we have the funds to do it, but let's take a look at some of these projects.
It's kind of like 110th. There's two spots in there need to be fixed out of 4 miles. And the rest of that road is 26, 28 feet wide. The road ditches are kind of steep, but it could be gravelled, and them 2 spots fixed, and that road would be perfect.
Further discussion?
Do we want to invest the money into the wetlands or wait till we get an estimate, or?
Well, you don't pay the wetlands until you actually go to bid, right?
Right, but once you got to commit to it. Back out at the last minute. If you'd like an estimate.
Have all the
But if
right-
we don't do it, we don't pay it.
Yeah, if we don't do the project, we don't pay.
Correct.
Have the right of way been acquired on this project?
No, it is not.
Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else?
You guys want to leave the wetlands until?
I guess if we're not going to be obligated to pay it, at least get that part of it started, so if things all justify and we do it, we're not waiting for it.
Sure. We can do that, or if you want to wait until I get the cost from Beaver Creek on the archaeological monitoring as well, either way the commission wants to proceed.
We'd need a motion to go ahead with it.
I'd make the motion to go ahead with it, to get the wetlands, just in case we do the project. And
Second,
Second.
any more discussion? Not, we'll have roll call.
Commissioner Heiser,
yes,
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. So the next item that I have is for manning. So just last week, our water group had received a list of manning residents and water users along with their land legal descriptions from Holly. We'll be coordinating with her and SWA regarding the collection of right-of-way for the water improvements. I believe Holly is asking for, or is going to want to request another formal public meeting where the easements can be collected and coordinated. And then Jen Murray as well from SWA would probably be in attendance on that too. So we're working with Holly on that. For 2025, for 3rd Street Northwest, we received our core permit. So we're finished in right-of-way documents and setting up meetings with landowners. And then we're coordinating with Terry on when we're going out. We have a couple landowners too that might want some alignment changes that we need to address, and we'll do that. The road portfolio holders are, of course, welcome to attend on those as well if you would like. For 7th, the core was submitted, and the wetland credits were approved by the board. We still have not got that one back, but again, we're compiling right-of-way documents and he's setting up meetings with landowners on both of those projects as well. For 2026 projects, our 115th Avenue Southwest and 1st Street, we have a preliminary alignment, and we sent that to the road department for their review. If anyone else would like to see it, Commissioner Heiser, Commissioner Pelton, or anyone else for that matter, we have that we can show. We're working with Beaver Creek, and we have one landowner that's on that project that has some concern regarding cultural surveys. So we're trying to work through that with her, but there's an area on the north end of the project where the current road center line is not on the section line, and another one of our design standards, along with design speeds, are to try to true the road profiles or the road center lines on the section line. That'll be something that the decision will have to be made whether or not she wants the alignment can stay where it's at, which is not on section line, about 12 to 14 feet off. That's something else that we'll have to decide if we want to get a variance from that. So. Other than that, I just have 85th and Rodeo Road West. I don't think anything's happened on those at this point in time. So that's all I have for you all today. Commissioner Pelton, I do have pay requests for Schwartz for you to sign that I can give you, and we can get them at the break.
Anything else? If not, thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Commissioners. Start off with 27th Street. Contractors aiming for an August start date, with the pre-construction conference being held today, 2:30 at the shop in Kildare. Looking forward to getting that one started off. 109th, kind of a placeholder here. Delivered and stamped all the plans for easement acquisition, so more to come on that. When we hear more on 82nd South, we're putting some finishing touches on these documents, getting ready to hand them over to Superintendent Schwarzenberger. And on North segment, kind of in a holding pattern on that one. Look forward to working with the road department on their comments on our design and the easement acquisition on that. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Jeremy, morning.
Morning. Just a couple brief updates. Started with a construction project, 119th and 22nd Street over north of South Art. The project's going to start, we believe, sometime in July or early August. So we're coordinating with utilities and fencers to get things ready in the construction the next few weeks. 105th Avenue from 25th Street to 19th Street, we do have pay estimate number 4. The amount is $207,680.94, which we are recommending payment in that amount to Bronco Brothers Construction.
I'll make a motion to make the payment of $207,680.94 to Bronco Brothers Incorporated.
Second.
And moved and seconded to pay estimate number 4, amount of $207,680.94. Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Not, we'll have roll call.
Commissioner Heiser?
Yes.
Commissioner Olson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton?
Yes.
Next project, 98th and 4th Street in the vicinity of Dunn Center. Looks like they're going to start sometime in August. I think the report says July or August, but sounds like it's going to be August for a starting date for that project. We haven't had a pre-construction meeting yet to confirm that, but it looks like it's going to be August. We do have another pay estimate for 97th Avenue. That is being built by Jensen Brothers Construction, kind of southeast of Dunn Center. We recommend pay estimate number 2. The amount is $128,840.60 to Jensen Brothers Construction.
Make a motion to pay the pay estimate number 2 in the amount of $128,840.60.
Second. Second? Okay. Any discussion on these? Any discussion? If not, we'll have roll call.
Commissioner Heiser?
Yes.
Commissioner Olson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman? Commissioner Pelton?
Yes.
Switching to our design projects, the Pinewood Meadows subdivision paving. The bid opening is at 10 o'clock today. I think we're only going to get 1 or 2 bids. The one good thing that we've noticed is
when we put our initial estimates together as far as construction cost, I think we were at roughly $590,000. I think our estimate today is about 530, so it went the right way. They don't always go down, but this one we think is going to be lower than what we had estimated originally. So we'll know in about 45 minutes, but it's good that we're designed it to save a little bit of money, or at least we hope we have anyway. Another bid opening that we have scheduled is July 16th. That is for that 8-mile stretch on 10th Street, 113th Avenue and 7th Street. Getting a lot of interest on that project. As a reminder to the commission, we have a 2026 completion date, just because we think it's too big of a project to be completed this year. We do have an interim completion date of, I believe it's late November, for all the centerline culverts to be installed. So it's a fairly aggressive schedule when it comes to culverts, but the bulk of the grading is going to be probably finished in 2026. And as mentioned, that bid opening is set up for 2 weeks from today on July 16th. 3T over in the JR's industrial subdivision, the DOT has granted it's a temporary approach permit, which we'll use during construction as a kind of a temporary bypass. So we have that scheduled. The earliest we could get in was an August 6th bid opening for that project. And we suspect or anticipate construction to happen this year. Even though we bid in August, we think it's probably a 4 or 5 week project for that project. Not a whole lot to report on other projects. We got a couple of remaining easements on some of them. Inactive projects, we're not spending any time on those. Some of our 2026 projects we're kind of fitting in as time permits. One little miscellaneous thing that I didn't include in the report. If you remember, I think it was 2 years ago, we had applied for some flex funding on a project, and we received money for that. Well, now the DOT has also allocated, as part of the last legislative session, a carve-out of more flex funding for counties. And I think the applications are coming out in the next couple weeks. I heard mid-July is kind of what the time frame is. So we'll reapply for flex funding on that project. And if there's other projects the commission or Superintendent Schwarzenberger would like us to apply for, we'll certainly offer our services for that, because I think it's a really good program, and I think depending on the types of projects you guys pick, I think you'll get probably some money. You did in the last go around, so I would anticipate you'll get funding, but you have to apply. It's kind of a delayed timeline here. I think the applications come out mid-July. The deadline is actually sometime in October or even November, so they have 2 or 3 months, but I would suggest us put some projects together and make some applications, which we'll offer to do that if you guys are willing to look into that.
Yeah, Superintendent Schwarzenberger can probably work with you, and we can.
Oh, we'd like to help, because I think it's a good program, and the criteria may change a little bit from what it did 2 years ago, but you guys were successful with the last go around, so I would expect it's going to happen this time. Other than that, that's all I had.
Did you want to talk about the subgrade width on Harris Road? Or do you want to?
You know what? That is one thing I forgot in my report. So the Harris Road, or the project that gets bid in a couple weeks, we have designed for future paving. That's what the commission directed us 3 months ago to do. We revisited our numbers for the paving cost. We're estimating roughly $7 million. That changes based on the commodity price of oil, but we're estimating $7 million, which I think is really close to what we had estimated 3 months ago, between 6.5 and 7.5. So our 7 as of today is probably what it would be.
I don't know, I guess if we're gonna pave it, we should decide now. Otherwise, if we're not gonna pave it, our road width should maybe be tightened up a little.
I agree, because we got 19th Street, that's really wide, it was potential paving, and now that's creating us all kinds of issues, because it's so wide, but, I guess, do we need a motion to, so we got direction, because if we're gonna bid this project, we got a set of plans, if we're gonna narrow it up, we gotta do it now, but I personally, I think we should pave it, we've got pavement on top of the hill, and make a connection with what's already up there.
Any more discussion on it?
I guess, I don't know if I can be part of the discussion, but I would suggest bidding it over the winter and kind of allowing the grading contractor to see how far he gets, or she gets, I guess. Whether it's January or February or something, we'll kind of watch the DOT bid openings for paving projects, see if there's a project in the area we can kind of piggyback on. So I don't think we need to necessarily bid it for paving anytime soon, but maybe over winter we'll reapproach it. But it makes a lot of sense to pave it. It's designed to be paved. And for what it's worth, we've during right-of-way negotiations, told eventually to landowners it will be paved. So that's kind of commitment, not necessarily a timeline, but we told them the commission was intending to have it paved.
I just think that if we're gonna move forward with that kind of width, we should have it, a motion to.
I guess I'll make that motion to keep on, you've got it designed, let's keep on, and I agree, bid it, we'll see what kind of a late fall we have. Sometimes we can move dirt all the way into Thanksgiving, some years we're shut off 1st November, so that'll make a decision when we want to pave it, but.
Right, so you're making a motion to pave it?
Yes.
Or second?
I'll second it.
Any more discussion then?
Wouldn't we be better off paving it next year after we get it?
It will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
see, if, we had a discussion over at the county shop one day about get the center line pipes laid this year, because that's where the problem comes in. You know, the pipe settle more so than the regular grade. So that's kind of why we're pushing to get the center line pipes in so they go through the winter. So we have a potential to.
Yeah, if there's any settling,
Yep.
that's done.
Get them settled.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there won't be no pavement this year. It'll probably be late next year before. It's just that if we're gonna proceed with this width, we should decide now if we're gonna pave it or not. Any more discussion? Any more? Not, we'll have roll call.
Commissioner Heiser?
Yes.
Commissioner Olson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman? Commissioner Pelton?
Yes. Motion carries.
Any other questions on projects or anything else?
Yeah, 10.
Yes, I'll be here for the bid opening, obviously.
Okay, Superintendent Schwarzenberger.
Morning.
Morning.
Utility permits today. There'll actually be a set of 3 crossings at each location. There's a natural gas, an oil, and a water line. And basically the area is from 26th Street along the South Hart Road south to the county line.
Terry, has this road been reconstructed? So,
Yes.
okay. 'Cause I know we visited yesterday about when they put these pipelines in, if there's a hill or something to make sure we get them deep enough. So if we ever come back and regrade it, we don't have any conflict.
Nope, these are all good.
Okay.
Recommend approval for these.
I make a motion to approve the 3 permits that Terry's presented.
Second. Is there a second?
Second.
Up second. Missed you. Any more discussion? Not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
And then I guess, I don't know if all of you know, Trevor Haug is a shop foreman in Kilder now. So he's in that position. And then I would also look for commission approval maybe to For our small projects, we usually paid 500 per parcel for your easement, temporary easements. And we'd like to see if we could at least bump that up to 1,000 per parcel for the small projects. Consider that.
That would fit in line with what we did with our other.
I would think so. We upped the rate for the rest of it, so I think this would be more in line to kind of follow suit.
Motion, I'll make the motion to pay $1,000 per parcel for small road projects.
Second,
Second.
any more discussion? More discussion? If not, we'll have roll call.
Commissioner Heiser?
Yes.
Commissioner Olson? Commissioner Kleeman?
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Pelton?
Motion carries.
Think about them.
And then West Dunn Fire was also looking for a command vehicle. I think Commissioner Pelton knew about it as well. They've been asking. And we would have a 2014 Chevy pickup. It's got about 70,000 miles on it now that we would be willing to part with. But that would be up to the commission.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what one he's got right now, but it's getting quite a few miles on it.
Yep, that's an old sheriff's one as well
Yep.
too that he has now.
So,
I'd make a motion to transfer the pickup Terry just described to the fire district.
second,
I'll second.
any more discussion? More discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And that's all I have for today.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Terry, do you have enough stuff that we could have a auction? I know the weed board will like to get rid of a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, we've been in contact. I think Sally has a list that we have and
I do, actually, Commissioner Kleeman, I'm working on that. So I have a list from the sheriff's department, the road department, the weed department, and Will is gathering some stuff. So we were thinking maybe this fall.
Okay, we were just asked at the weed board meeting that they'd like to get rid of some stuff to make some room for.
Yep.
Anything else?
nope, that's all I have unless you guys have anything else.
Thank you.
Tracy, do you have anything? Okay. You want to take care of the wages?
Yeah, when we hired, or promoted Terry to, road superintendent, we, had a high and a low range. We put him at the mid-range. I think, Terry has proven himself and really been, moving along and I spend a lot of time with Terry on the road and stuff, so I think it's time, that we up him to the top, whatever we had on the top of the way. I think it was 120, I believe, for annual salary. I think he's got the road department clicking along in the right direction and got some good leadership going on, and I think he should be rewarded for it.
Where's he at now?
I think he was in the mid, somewhere in the mid. I think the salary was like
107? Ring a bell?
remember, but there was a range there. It was the low and the mid, we put him in, and then we were gonna bump him up.
How long has he been in official position for?
3 months?
Wasn't that a 3-month review that we were gonna bump him from mid to top after only 3 months? You know, I get he's doing a good job, but that's a pretty big jump in
Well,
3 months' time.
we can put him wherever we want to.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't have to go clear to the top.
yeah. That's just, I don't know if I'm quite ready to go clear to the top yet. I mean, 3 months ain't a very big time.
Well, you make the motion. I'd like to do it. I just think he needs to be bumped up for what he's doing.
And I think our road department is working in really well right now. Working together and they're getting things done.
I think the posted salary was 92 to 120, and I think we put them right in the middle,
I think we're at 107, I think.
someplace in there, so.
Split that or. Somewhere in there.
I'll make the motion to go to 114,000 and reevaluate at the 6-month review.
Is there a
Second.
A second, Al?
Yeah, second.
Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Seeing none, we'll have roll call.
Commissioner Heiser,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dolzall, Commissioner Pelton.
Yes. Motion carries. Okay, there's one more thing under the road department. It's unofficial yet, but our Mackenzie Bay, we're working with them. They met with Mackenzie County yesterday, and it sounds like they will probably go with the 40%. They want Dunn County to probably take more of the lead in it. So if you've been working with it.
I've been working with them, and I've talked with Billy Dorr with Bros, and I think they've got a kind of a set of plans put together. And I understand with our conversation that they want to have the bid opening here. And so we could have them put the set of plans and get it advertised, and then just at the bid opening would be here, and they could come up and conduct it. And
You want to keep working with
I'll
them?
do that. I'll get a hold of Billy and tell him to proceed ahead and,
Doug and
yeah, and Doug and get a bid date for it, so.
Did we make the motion that we were gonna pay the 60%?
Last meeting,
Yep.
we did.
We did, okay, okay,
we would pay it if they paid the 40.
okay. Okay, I think I remember that.
I'll take care of it.
Anything else on the road? You got to amend the 21 minutes, May 21.
All right, so in the 21 minutes, I know I sent this to you guys, but so when we made the motion for the CUPs, I had put in there the recommended change for the text. There was no recommended change for the text, so I'm going to remove that from the minutes, official minutes. We'll strike that.
Is there a motion to,
I'll make the motion to strike that.
your second? And moved and seconded to strike the minutes. Any discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Special events?
Okay, we have 5 special events permits to approve. The first one is for DC Pub and Grub from July 2nd to July 5th at the rodeo grounds. Then we have 4 from the American Legion. The first is also July 2nd to July 5th at the rodeo grounds. The second one will be July 12th at the rodeo grounds for a wedding. The third will be at the rodeo grounds August 9th for a wedding. And the last will be September 26th and 27th for a wedding at the rodeo grounds as well. So if we could get those approved.
I'll move to approve the special events permits as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion on special events? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We'll take a break till 10 o'clock. Jeremy, you want to, got bid opening? Right there. Take as many as you want. We'll have the bid opening now for the Pinewood Meadows. We've got, I think, one bid that's been turned into us. They got this thing taped up worse than. Open the other end on them. No.
I think we should get a new leather rope pointed.
I will write that down.
That's the first time it said you were no longer.
Okay, we have the one bid. It's from Northern Improvement. And it's a bid of $606,777.00. $606,777.00. So we'll give it to Jeremy. He can go over the numbers. Get back to us. Thank you. Jerry. Tracy, are you on now or?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can now.
Okay.
Got your technical
Yep.
difficulties out of the way, so.
Yeah, no kidding.
Good morning. Is everyone ready for America's birthday?
There are.
All right, so today I am here to discuss the recommendations that were made by the Job Development Authority Board. They met for the Young Farmers Program. They met multiple times after your recommendations earlier in the year. The process that they followed for the changes that you recommended. They met with the full board in March. At that point in time, a committee was appointed, of which Commissioners Kleeman and Olson were also on that board. They had a great discussion and made some preliminary recommendations, if you will, at their meeting here in April in Manning, and then the full board considered those recommendations and approved them in Dunn Center in May. To summarize what those recommendations were, and hopefully to gain your approval, they agreed to keep the age the same for the Young Farmers Grant. Those ages for eligibility are 18 to 40. The projects that are submitted must be project specific and material specific. So nothing that they've already paid for or made a recommendation for. It's something moving forward, and it must be project and materials, i.e. something that you can buy and hold it. That's kind of tangible, if you will. They also recommended that those items be purchased locally. We have to figure out what local means. For the example that I'm going to give you today, local means all of those counties that are attached to Dunn County, adjacent to, if you will, like a community buying something out of Richardson. Not in Dunn County, but certainly an adjacent community buying something out of Dickinson, certainly an adjacent community, and similar. The priority for those individuals to be awarded those grants would be first priority would be first-time applicants, of course, with the local project. Second priority would be people who have received it in the past, buying locally. And third priority would be all of those individuals who didn't put in a recommendation to buy locally. And that's completely up to you folks to decide if you want to allow that or not. Key to this, I know there was a concern about how many times people could apply. The conversation was fantastic. Commissioner Kleeman came in recommending or thinking he might recommend every other year. And then Commissioner Olson indicated, well, let's just max it at 10 times. So 10 times 5 is 50,000, doing the same amount that Commissioner Clemens would have been if it was every other year as the 50,000 max. So you can apply 10 years in a row, or you can skip a year. And always it has to do if there are funds available. Funding availability is always going to be a concern. The recommendation of both the committee and the full JDA board is that we work very closely with the auditor each year during the budgeting cycle, and we budget 1.5% of what the auditor's estimate of GPT would be. So for example, if the auditor estimates that our GPT for next year is going to be, in this example, $20 million, then 1.5% would be 300,000. That's the amount that goes into this program, period. If we end up with 100 applications, we go back to the criterion of first-time applicants and local. And then if you put in an application for something that comes from somewhere else, it just doesn't work. You don't get funded. If, for example, if it was the auditor's estimate was 300 million, then it's a $450,000 amount for that budget. And again, that's based upon the auditor's estimate of GPT for the coming year. And that's at 1.5%. Let's see if there was anything else. We felt it was very important for those people who were first-time applicants, for them to follow up the following year, if they do not apply, for them to give us proof that they are involved in agriculture. So for example, if you're buying a greenhouse, as an example, if you're buying a greenhouse to go into the farmer's market, you should be able to show that in your taxes. If you choose not to apply next year for the grant, you still need to provide that documentation in order to maintain eligibility. A little bit more paperwork on the backside, but I do believe that that's a good recommendation that the board made, and that it'd be important that they follow up. If they choose not to, they're just no longer eligible, period, in the future. I think it's important to let you know at this point in time, when we talk about buying local, we had 58 of those applicants ask for reimbursement. Of those 58, 46 had bought local by the definition that I gave you, adjacent counties. 12 had not. Of those 12, items could not have been purchased in this area. Other ones were things that, due to genetics or other items that they were purchasing, they chose to purchase outside within the region, sometimes in Montana, sometimes in North Dakota, and sometimes in South Dakota. But the majority of people are buying in the region, in our locality, if you will. And that's important because when $5,000 goes to, using Sally as an example, if Sally applied and $5,000 goes to her and she spends her money at Western Co-op, Western Co-op can then utilize those funds to pay their staff, who will then use their wages to buy groceries. And of course, that local multiplier does apply. Do you have any questions? Do you believe that these recommendations satisfy your concerns?
I don't know, I think you got a good criteria. I think your committee done good, but you know, I was talking to a gentleman one time, which is really, I kind of think is a good deal. You know, the population of Dunn County is what, but there was 92 young producers. So it's really good to see that there are 92 young people in our community that want to actively engage in keeping the family farm going. So I think it's great, and you know, if a guy can help them out as long as we can, I think it's, I mean, everybody knows the cost of things. If we can help somebody keep farming, I think it's great.
I think it's a good program. I mean, I have had a lot of the recipients come up and thank me for allowing them to get it. I mean, they're thankful, and I think it's going to, so they can establish themselves here.
This is Tracy. I agree. I think the committee, Judy's done a good job on working out some criteria and to get answered some of our questions. So I would definitely support what you put forward, Carrie.
Are you comfortable in making a motion to accept these changes or?
Yeah. I would make that motion to accept the changes to the Young Farmer Grant Program as presented.
There a second? Move and second it. Any more discussion? Any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. We will keep you appraised, and when we get all of these grants reimbursed, we're going to let you know how much that impact has been. So far, it's a 2.4% return on the dollars that have been invested in the community, and that's amazing.
Mr. Chairman, like we talked about, the buying out of state and that stuff, they could be a little more creative and buy something when they buy it local, pay for it here out of that and pay for it out of your pocket, what you buy out of state. I mean, it just needs a little more, they need to do a little more thinking when they're doing it. They are pretty much all qualified.
We also wanted to make sure we did away with the first time, first serve. We will mark when they are received, but that first time, first serve, sometimes somebody who is putting a lot of thought, and especially if we're requiring them to think carefully, as Commissioner Kleeman suggested, about what they're going to put through the program and utilize these grant funds, it's not as quick as, I'm going to get that. They might have to rethink their process. So we're going to go by the criteria of first and then local.
I think that's better than first come, first serve.
It's easier. All right. Thank you very much. Enjoy your holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody here from the city of Killdeer? Okay, we'll go down and do the GIS.
So Holly Hutchinson, our tax director, has been working relentlessly on our new GIS system with Sidwell. She's done a wonderful job. She just wanted everyone to know that the new site is up and running. It's on the front page. You just go to, remember what that's called, in the middle, the ribbon, and you just click on GIS, and it takes you directly to the property tax information and the property tax report cards, where you can get all the information about the assessments and different items regarding your property. So it's a really good setup. It's going to take us a little bit of time to get used to it, but it seems to be user-friendly, and all the information has been verified.
Any questions on it?
Progress.
Okay. The jobs, Bob?
Yeah, last meeting, we okayed a couple positions. You got it? I couldn't find these on the website. I might have been too late. I was just kind of wondering when I tried to pull them up to see if I could find out what the jobs, what they actually gonna do. Go ahead.
So the one for the IT coordinator, Bob, that one we are going to use as he will help us with NRG. We'll still have to keep NRG,
Right.
because NRG has more people. And each part of IT sometimes is very specific. So they'll need to work on our servers and different things with the sheriff's departments on their vehicles, you know, the more intricate kind of things. But what the IT coordinator will do, he will take care of all of our inventory, he or she. They will take care of helping the day-to-day things. They will come up with, remember we were talking about like beginning Excel and Word classes for our employees. He will help when somebody gets a new computer, helping them set up all of their personal things on it. So like if you got a new computer, he could sit with you and you guys could get it completely set up for you. So NRG does the part where they would put on the apps and things like that, and he'll fine tune it with people. Run the commission meetings. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank here, sorry. I gotta look at this. And they will help with the facility stuff that AVI does, setting up all the, like the Teams room that we set up in the veterans room. When we set up the new rooms at the PSC Center, he'll help navigate through that, setting up the TVs and the things for that training room. Just different things like that that we don't currently have a person doing. He'll help us with kind of working around the AI stuff that's coming out, help us with the cybersecurity. Mike went to a class in Bismarck the other day, and he actually found out that you can get hacked through your automated sprinkler system. So he actually came back and talked to Will, and they did some modifications on it. So we tightened up just different things like that. And we have a know before system through the state. And that is when any new user, or once a year, all of the users that we have to, I don't know, Lisa, is it like a 10-minute course, 15-minute course?
It's not very long, but like through the state, through the clerk, you have to take it every year to know about, it helps you to identify phishing scams, if you get an email, if it's fraudulent or not, because people can hack your system. It's just a security training every year, and it's mandatory.
So that's the position of the IT coordinator. And then Loanne, if you want to come up and explain your position.
I guess the reason on the IT person, I'm not familiar with that stuff at all. So I was just kind of trying to figure out what they're going to be doing for a full-time job.
It's already a full-time job. It just so happens that there's probably 6 or 7 of us that split duties. And it's getting to that point where we can't handle it anymore. We need one person.
Okay.
Yep.
Ready for me?
Yes.
All righty. This position is an assistant to the communications department, and it entails, it's basically doing everything I do, but in a little bit smaller scale. And I've been really struggling getting everything done, and that's partially, probably partially why I have so many hours in, because it's just difficult to accomplish everything in 40 hours. So we took, and how we assess that, we took my last 3 years, and traditionally I do work at minimum 3 days every 2 week pay period. I work 3 extra days. So, and I could work probably more, but I've tried hard to kind of, balance that, which we know is difficult for me. But I think it's important. I think we're finding that our transparency and the community engagement that we have has really helped settle a lot of things down. I mean, I think the community seems like they're engaging with us. I look at our social media accounts. I run Instagram and Facebook, and we have a new conversion. Our website's being converted right now. We've went through, we do on average of anywhere between 300 and 500 posts a month. We've increased our social media by thousands. Our Text My Gov has been, that increased from, that just started a few months, or probably a year now. And that's now already up to close to 800 users. And people really, they like those kinds of things. Now we're all also getting calls like, and it's tough to kind of figure out how much we should do. But I think if we're supporting, for an example, if Dunn County Historical Society needs help, I help them. If the airport needs help, I help them. If the museum, if they need help and it's going to increase, it's going to make it better for all of us and across the county, and we're getting, we're taking care of those groups that we also at times fund, I think that's critical. I also think it's important for us, we're trying to work on bringing people here to live. So, of course, I work on the things like beautifying the county, like the cleanup, the major cleanup that takes us. I mean, that's a huge event every year. So we have multiple events that we coordinate annually, and it's difficult for one person to get done. So that's when I brought up the fact that maybe if I had a little bit more help, what I'd like to get to is I really want to get our plans done. I really need to get more involved with the joint ventures group that we're working on getting the entire county to collaborate so we get everybody kind of working together so accomplish more. The website, for an example, now we finally, over years, remember the first time when I came, you guys said to me, can we do something where we can go look at it and we can see everything that's going on in the county? That's there now, and it's being utilized and people like it. And we get every single week, we get tons of submissions to go into that website calendar. So I think that's really, those things are positive things that have happened over the last 2.5, 3 years that completely engage with our awesome. I developed a relationship with our reporter and I feed him information all the time. For an example, this will give you a better idea. Dunn County, the West Dunn fire. Nobody probably even knows that I was involved in that, but West Dunn Fire is going to have a layout in the newspaper, and that's because we supported it. And I took pictures, got him all the contacts, made it so his job's easier. So my job is basically a job that kind of pulls us all together and tries to get us working towards one vision, making this the best county ever.
Also, too, I think I mentioned it in the last meeting, but currently, Luann does borrow my people, and we're kind of getting behind.
I
on
do.
some of the things that we need to be doing. So not only does she work extra hours, but combined with my people, she probably uses them about 20 hours a week. So she's pretty much pushing a full-time person.
And I really do try to be very cognizant of the fact to use our funds, make sure that we're using it, I'm being very careful and conservative, and I usually don't do paid advertising and stuff unless I absolutely have to, if I'm doing weed days. I help all the departments. I've got like 14 bosses, 5 here, and then like 4,000 out there. And hopefully I'm responsive that they see it. I answer their calls day and night, 24/7, and I get them. So, but I do think that it's important that I represent you guys, and I can't do it all if I don't get some help. And I think Sally's probably gonna, put a limit on my hours that I can ask for help, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm good. Either way, I do my job the best I can do it. It doesn't matter. Either way, assistant or no assistant, I will do my job. That's what I'm committed to do.
If somebody applies.
Yeah, that's scary. I probably scared them away, right?
No, but I mean, you bring up the fire department. I mean, I don't know if you guys did their open house last week, but.
Yes.
I mean, for the crowd they had, word got out, and part of it was through what, Luann?
Yep, Tyrell at the city too. We work together all the time, and we push. You got an event. Look at yoga. Look at our yoga class we had. The 2 instructors told me that if you expect 5 to 7, we had 20 plus people out at yoga, out at Lake Isla that day. It was amazing. And you know what? I didn't pay for one ad. That was all. It's all organic, is what they call it. It's making relationships with people and knowing when to contact them and making sure you're reaching out and reminding them. And so, yeah, all of that's done. I do it with all very careful thinking. Like you'll notice Thursday mornings, you're going to get lambasted with everything on social media because that's when people look at social media, studies show. So I have to learn all of that or understand all that and understand our behaviors and what our quality of life and what we do and why we do it so that I can make sure I'm meeting everybody's needs. And I'm sure I fall short sometimes, but then they call me and that's fine. I try to fix those things.
I think what our communication with the county has improved greatly.
Thank you. I try.
I think it goes a long ways if you get a call from somebody, that person wants to be talked to. You just can't ignore them because, and then last Friday we had a deal.
We just dealt with that on Friday.
Yeah, and I called this individual and she's been texting me and saying how great everything is now. So, I mean, some people just need somebody to talk.
They need to hear,
Yeah.
they want to know we care.
We care, that's.
Yeah. Yep.
Mr. Chairman, my biggest problem with this is, are you going to slow down?
Well,
I
I
mean-
will work on that, Bob.
I mean, the thing about it is, I can see where if I got something I don't have time for, I'm gonna hand it to you because I know it's gonna get done.
Thank you.
And that's where I got the problem. I mean, I have no problem with hiring anybody. Excuse me. But I guess my point is, I want you to back off a little bit.
I understand.
And some of the stuff you probably need to say, I don't have time for. I know you don't do that, but I would like to see you do it once.
Okay. I'm hoping with an assistant that takes some of that admin stuff off for me, like scheduling meetings and doing minutes and that kind of stuff. I'm hoping that that person can help, coordinate some of that stuff for me, which will let me do some of the big thinking. I mean, I look forward to that big thinking. I should be doing some of that because I want to get you guys set up well, because one day I am going to retire. And when I do, I want to be able to leave you with a roadmap for the next 10 years. So, and have everything in place. That's my goal. But right now I'm and I'm sure the staff will tell you that there are other things they could use help with, but they don't ask me because they see that it's hard for me to get what I'm getting done. So, but I will work on that, Bob.
One thing I like is keeping us informed what's going on in Dodge and Halliday. So, so we know it comes continuous. Social medias can be an ugly animal, but then it's got its good points too, the things that you do to keep everybody informed.
Yeah.
I mean, just what's going on. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on if you don't.
Yep. And
she'll
thinking
send
about,
it to you more than once.
I'll try, and I do. Sorry. The other thing is, think about the county coffees. That started out in its infancy and we thought, oh, is this going to work? And it turned out great. Now, we've done them and we hope to do them more often. It's just that they take a lot of time to coordinate because I make sure you're in every city, whether it's an organized city or not. But we have sat down and had some of the most difficult conversations at those coffees because people feel like they can talk to the commissioners one-on-one. They understand what the staff does, what each staff member does. So hopefully those programs, I can get the foundation laid. And then one day when I retire, you just keep going. It's going to be great. Did I convince you, Bob?
No.
No. Okay.
Thanks for doing a great job.
Well, thank you for everything.
You do. And like I said, you need to slow down a little bit, okay? If you get another employee, I'm going to be watching it.
Okay. All right, I promise. But thank you for the support because I do think this will work for you guys for a very long time.
Okay.
Okay? All right, thank you.
Okay, City of Killdeer, anyone waiting on anybody?
Matt's always the
Matt,
last one.
you're on deck then.
I hope somebody bails me out, right? How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me, Commission. Believe I'm on the agenda, Auditor Winningham, for 2 items. One was just a general update. I'll get to that here in a moment. The first item was, we discussed, I keep mixing up the meeting, Sally, so I do apologize. I believe it was in February, March, where we discussed sidewalks originally. Carrying the sidewalk path from the high school to the rodeo grounds, maybe extending the Cowboy Station, some different things out there, I believe was discussed. So on our end of it, I was able to chat with Commissioner Olson a little bit about it. Do apologize, Commissioner Heiser was hoping to reach out to you, and I didn't get a chance there, so I do apologize. on
Pay
that.
for it.
And Commissioner Pelton there. But just wanted to get the commission's thoughts there, because I believe it would be, our city commission's still interested in doing it. We see something similar to a cost share like we did for the golf course road that we did last year. You know, that could be a possibility, but at the same time would see what the commission's interested in doing as well. As far as scope, that sort of thing, that's for lack of a better term, at your ballpark right away. But I do know, from talking to the city commission, that is something they're certainly interested in helping with. Just a matter of, lining up those pieces and seeing where everybody's at.
Oh, I thought they were asking for our help and they were gonna take charge of this.
And I would say, Commissioner Pelton, where it gets, for lack of a better term, a little bit complicated is that all of that is outside city limits.
Yep.
So if it was inside city limits, we probably would be at those steps already. A good portion should be in our ETA, but it is outside the city limits there. So that's where we, for lack of a better term, essentially defer to the county commission on that end of it.
What did you guys do for the cost share on the golf course road?
50/50 on that one. And then we covered, some of the stuff that was specific to the golf course that's on City of Killdeer property, we covered on our end.
The parking lot and stuff that was up there,
Yep.
they covered.
Yep.
We split the road part.
I've driven that route. The only biggest thing is where do we place it? Because of that big hillside, snow drifting, you'd have to, I don't know how extensive the grading would be. And if you want to keep it open year round, for snow removal in right of ways, that'd be our biggest concern is where to place it. So it's terrain friendly, and it'd be nice to cut it into the back slope, but then you cut it in the back slope, you got to straighten out. It's just, I don't know. It'd be just a placement. I think it's a great idea, because I could just see the people going out to the fairgrounds, going over, just a place to get out of town for a walk, but the placement would be, and where to put it, but not being so maintenance,
And there's always the option, you just don't plow it and it's just not usable in the wintertime. It's still good for 9 months out of the year, right?
Well,
Summertime, people can take a walk out, walk their dogs, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think long-term, Commissioner Heiser too, that would be something, if we're able to get a sidewalk out there, coordinating with, our park works department, see who's able to clean that. Right, we have the equipment to do it, but that would add some, decent footage. So seeing, long-term what that would look like as well, if that's something we can help with, or if that's something the county would take. Yep, I would love to say I'm an engineer, I'm certainly not, but Commissioner Heiser, you hit it on point there. Because we had those brief discussions, I know our engineer took a look at it. Right away is a question, right? We're not, 100% what the right of way looks like. We should be fine, either way, but again, you have some grading issues, that sort of thing. But I guess, today the ask would be, is that something, and I did have a conversation with Superintendent Schwarzenberger about it a while back too, is that to keep this project moving forward, what does that look like?
Jeremy, you actually designed that project first time, so he's got a pretty good idea with right-of-ways and different things too, and maybe if you had a time to look at it, or if you'd be interested in, the feasibility of it, I guess.
Commissioner Pelton?
Just a second, Tracy.
Yeah, okay.
think a guy could build it there. You probably have to import some dirt to get your, slope, and if you wanted to just to carve it into the existing back slope, it wouldn't work. You'd have to import. I think it's doable. I think it would be a great idea, but just, I think if.
And I guess, to piggyback off of Engineer Wood here, the Transportation Alternatives Program, unless that changed, that's typically a 60-40 split. I did talk to Chairman Dalzell about it a little bit. We had some luck, if you're aware of the path that we recently put in the city there to the by-hutch different. We were fortunate enough to have, originally it was supposed to be 80-20, essentially 80 state, 20 local. And it turned into 90 state, 10 federal, so we lucked out there. So it's a little bit different there. Like I chatted with Chairman Dalzell a bit, it wouldn't be a bad idea to look at transportation alternatives funding or similar programs on a state level, but as Engineer Wood noted, we are sitting on the outside of the biennium there. That would take a couple of years of funding if that's something you're looking at doing sooner rather than later. The other thing is that typically in those projects, there are, for lack of a better term, more requirements. So I can say for a project we're looking at doing in town, roughly around that 19-20 range, we ended up backing out just based on some of the additional costs on the DOT side, while still having within the spec, obviously, what we built. So just kind of give some history to that.
Commissioner Dalzell?
Yeah, I was going to mention what Matt had just stated. I did look into that TAP programming, and it would be a few years till it would even be eligible. And then, like Matt stated, there's more requirements and increases the cost. So I think if we're going to support this project, which I do, I think it's a good project. I'd be in favor of having one of our engineers, or Jeremy, being he worked on that road project, kind of look into a design for it and move forward.
Any more comments?
If we need a motion, I'd take a motion, we go forward with it, and if Jeremy's got the time to kind of take a look at some of that, and like I said, I think we'll figure it out.
Get a cost. And
yeah, it'd be a lot of importing, and I guess where would the start would be by the school, the end point would be bypass, or I think don't we got to cross the slough to get over to the cowboy station? It's not going to be an easy task. I think it's doable, but I think maybe.
I think that's where, big change from the initial conversation too, because the initial conversation was, getting to the rodeo grounds. But obviously with your new development south, you guys know it better than I do, and we are concerned with it as well. Having people traveling down there, walking down there. We've seen people walking down the middle of that, High Street there and that sort of thing, especially with the rodeo coming up, right? This is a concern that'll be on our doorstep here pretty quickly, potentials that way. So that's where on the scope side, I think we defer, to the county where you're extending that to. Because originally we was just, connecting to the rodeo grounds, and anything after that, I think that's something the city commission would certainly entertain, but we don't want to speak to your scope either.
We got a second for that?
I can second it.
This is Tracy. I'll second. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, Jeremy, you can look into that. Someone.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I got a comment. If we make that walking path down on the bypass, there gonna have to be stoplights and stuff down there so people can cross. 'Cause I mean, we don't want people walking across that road and getting smoked by a semi doing 85.
Yes, well, an engineer Wood can speak to it better than I can too, or Superintendent Schwarzenberger, but yes, you would most likely have some different items like that. No different than a couple of years ago when we had that path on the south roundabout. they had a lot of stoppage there, right? You know, different detours, that sort of thing, to make sure when you're working in there, there is no traffic, you know, or limited traffic.
I got another concern. I wish it went somewhere besides down and back. I mean, even if they go to the Cowboy Station, my son had it figured out. You got to run 4 miles. I can't remember the numbers anymore, but if you're going to go from the school down to the Cowboy Station and back, you can't do it in the half hour that you got. So, I mean, it would be nice if it was point A to point B for a reason. I mean, walking path is fine, but it'd be nice if it went somewhere. And that's my opinion. I mean, the one you got in Kilder right now, you can walk, you make a circle.
Mm-hmm.
And it, you know, you aren't, to me, walking from one place to another, and, you know, being able to make a circle on it or a purpose to go. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Would you want to loop it back up to the south roundabout then and follow around 200?
I don't know. That's a, I mean, from the school to the junction is a long ways.
You know, biggest thing is if you get up there, then you gotta get the DOT involved as far as right of way and easements, and you're talking a lot of money if you wanna make that loop. I think, baby steps and get down to maybe the crossing, and I believe that, I'm not sure if you could put like a flashing light when somebody comes there, because we do have power there now because of the light. I don't know what, like Bob's concern is, pedestrian crossing. Wow.
Right.
I think you should just research it and come back with a recommendation. No, it's not gonna happen overnight when you've got time to do it, and at least we get the ball started.
You want to repeat our motion we have then? Alan, do you have it?
Yes. Okay, so the motion was to move forward with looking into the design and have Engineer Wood come up with a scope, a timeline, and the other details for the project.
Everybody understand that then? Any more discussion on it? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
You're for or opposed? Tracy?
For.
Okay, you just came in a little late, so that's what we figured.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Motion carried. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, so I guess to follow up here with that, I'll get back to the city commission here. We'll have a regular meet on Monday and discuss that more in depth too, and just keep them updated, and we'll keep in touch that way. We can ask if our city engineer can possibly help here with Engineer Wood as well. Superintendent, you know, get some different people involved to keep that going, so appreciate it, Commission. One of the items we had recently, I touched base with Commissioner Olson on it a bit. The commission touched base on it last meeting, was the continuation of the shooting archery trap range. So far we've closed on the Rodeo Ridge LLC land there. The ConocoPhillips building, we're looking at mid-August on that one. So we're still moving right along there. Just got in touch with the company doing the soil bores. They were able to complete them this week. So they're going to be reaching out here with reports next week. And I'll make sure to send those over to you guys as well here, so to keep everybody lock and step on that end of it. We'll have a discussion on Monday to go essentially as soon with concurrence with the board motion recommendations there as far as that committee is concerned. So we'll keep on task there. City Attorney Nate Bray was able to send over a draft GPA agreement regarding that area. So haven't taken a look myself yet, but we'll take a look on our end on Monday and then get that over to you guys as well. So moving forward right along there. Other than that, a couple items on the hiring side. We have the community development director position open for hire. It's a position that we opened last year and that we've had vacated for quite some time. So excited about that, getting that going and working with the county in any aspects there. And right now we're looking at also a Parks and Rec director. So it's a position that we had before I got on board, actually back in 17. It was just formed a different way. We've discussed it at both the city level and the park district level, excuse me, for the last couple of years about the need for it. And we're hoping that we're moving right along here, hoping to get that open for a hire upon job description approval, that sort of thing. So wanted to keep the county lock and step on that end. And if there's anything that we can do on our end, let us know. Otherwise, pretty excited to get that person online because we've had some good things happen as far as the programs are concerned. The park district did a great job there. We've had some different people step up there, but we have seen the need to get somebody in that position. So on both that and the community development director position. And obviously you probably notice I'm missing, but we're also thankful for getting Police Chief Jonathan Avalos online as well. So thank you for letting us have him. Sounds like he's working, hitting the ground running already. So pretty excited to work with the sheriff's office and the county on that end as well. So if you had any questions for me.
Any questions? Thank you for a good report.
Yeah, appreciate the report.
It's nice to know that the county and cities can work together.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and if it's fine by the commission, I'll try to make at least one appearance a month here, either a combination or, Commissioner President Wallace, Commissioner Fentz, myself, staff, you name it. So other than that, thank you for your time, Commission.
If you do come,
Thank you.
next year bring some of them cookies once a month like that.
I am not great at bringing food. Commissioner Heiser, I do have to work on that. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, I guess you want to take a short 5-minute break and then we'll go into our next one at 11 o'clock.
You got a bid opening, Jeremy.
Oh, Jeremy, okay. Okay,
Sure.
yeah, we'll come back and call it to order then.
So I went back and reviewed the sole bid, and there was no math errors. So the total of all bid items is $606,777, which was higher than our estimate of $530. So it's 15% higher. We kind of looked at the numbers a little bit. It's a little surprising. I thought they were going to be closer to our estimate. If you remember, when we first developed this project, we put a real rough number. We thought it was going to be like $585,000. We did our design. We actually thought we were going to be closer to the $530. Came in at about $605. So from the original number, about $20,000 more. Looked at all the bid items. There's nothing that jumps out at me that we can redesign or eliminate. I think this is the first one this year that was over our estimate, so a little over our estimate, but I don't think you're going to save any money by rebidding it or redesigning. So I would recommend you accept this bid from Northern Improvement.
Was this construction completed this year?
Yes. Just a second, Tracy.
The bid?
Is there a second?
A second.
Been moved and seconded. Any more discussion?
Only one discussion, Jeremy. You can't always be the high bidder. And I mean, as history repeats itself, you've always been pretty close. I mean, and that's just, I think that number is dictated probably on oil or in whatever else.
It was just a little bit of everything. It's we probably underestimated the complexity of it just because it's a small project with a lot of little different things on it, but it's a fair price. It's just higher than what we thought it was going to be.
I mean, you only got one bid. I mean, and it's not a job that's going to get us a whole lot of bids. I mean, it's.
No, like I said, if you try to rebid it, I don't know if you're going to see a whole lot of savings.
It's a little messy.
It is.
Then you get one bid again, same guy, and he ups it. Okay, any more discussion on it? If not, we'll have roll call.
Commissioner Dalzell,
Yes.
Commissioner Heiser,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman, Commissioner Pelt.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, now we'll have a couple minute break before we're 11 o'clock. item is Attorney Brian Schmidt is here with a case we have with Dennison versus the county. And this may be discussed in executive session. The legal authority for closing this portion of the meeting is North Dakota Century Codes NDCC 44-04-19.1, 44-04-19.2. And that's pending litigation is why we're here, so. And at this time, a motion would be in order to discuss the next topic in executive session rather than in an open meeting. Is there such a motion?
I'll move to enter executive session.
Or a second? Roll call?
Commissioner Heiser?
Yes.
Commissioner Olson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dolzall? Commissioner Pelton?
Yes. back.
I'm back. You're done talking about me.
We had our attorney give us advice.
Warned us about you.
I'm sure.
Okay, well, if you want to step up to the front, we'll.
I shall. And the candy was purchased not with county or city dollars.
How'd you know that's my favorite?
It's 100 grand. I just figured it had money on it, so. Last year was payday, so next year I'm not sure.
Depends on what you give her.
Yeah. Yeah, mine's easy. I'm holding even, so.
Don't bring Coke Zero.
Yeah, exactly. Coke, Diet Coke, it'll be good. The front part is the invitation or the agenda for the Joint Commission meeting, which will be July 31st. I've moved it up a little bit. Maybe I'll get some of those hay baling commissioners to be able to come in. It'll be at the health unit, or you can call in Zoom, but we'll just need a quorum from your county.
July 31st.
July 31st, and that'll be at the health unit. Probably this year we'll only be able to hand out crackers. Anyway, for the record, I'm Sherry Adams, Southwestern District Health Unit Executive Officer. Nice to meet the new people. Well, I knew Al a long time ago, so, but nice to meet you, David. And don't believe a word any of they tell you about me, just saying. So we do understand, or I do understand, with all the property tax relief and the 3% cap and all that, I'm going to try to hold even again this year. This will be the 4th year. As I understand totally, all the cuts are happening across every jurisdiction. So, it's going to be the same story. We lost this, we lost that. We did take a very large hit so far with federal funding. If you go down to line 40, so far we've lost $350,000. I think line 30, Women's Way, we were told it's possibly done. We cannot do anything more with that as of June 29th. We'll see if they put it back in, but I'm not real hopeful on that one. And then I just got word on line 31, that one grant is not being renewed. So this really was a challenge for me this year. I don't know what grants are coming. I don't know if they're level funding. I don't know anything about that. But having said all that, one strategy that I've done, which I knew and suspected might be happening, I had 3 staff that retired at the end of June, and I'm not replacing their positions. I've taken what they have done, their jobs, and delegated it out amongst other staff, which I kind of had that plan anyway when we knew COVID funding was going to go away. And I had hired 3 or 4 people with COVID funding with the idea and the expectation that if the grants go away, you'd be cross-trained and filled in if there's funding there. So that's one way I'm going to be hopefully balancing out things. I have another employee that's probably going to get deployed in October for 12 to 18 months. So whether or not he comes back, I don't know, but for that interim, he won't be on the payroll. So there's some of that I know is coming up. A couple positive things on line 42, immunizations. We were able to go with different companies, like, be able to file more insurance with other agencies besides Medicare, Medicaid, Sanford, and Blue Cross. So we've been able to add other things like United and Medica and those kinds of things. So that helps a little bit on that, although I don't know where immunizations are going to go at this point either. We will be raising some of the environmental health fees, not a lot that it's going to hurt consumers, but a little bit that will help some of the bottom line, like raising a water sample $5. I mean, it'll be that kind of thing, but it'll help a little bit. Other than that, there's not a lot of changes on cash in. If you go to page 2, our cash out, I've decreased salaries some at this point. I know it'll be less than that. I kind of left it there because I'm not sure where insurance is really going to go. It has gone up to $1,900 a person or an employee. So we knew that was coming as well. And so we'll watch that and balance that out. Again, having less employees will help with that bottom line. We also will cut back on travel. not affecting really our rural counties as far as they need to go to the counties. So like Amber in your county has to go to all the towns, and that's understandable. But we'll be cutting back travel, maybe to events or meetings or that kind of thing, with more things going Zoom and Teams. So we'll be watching that. We also, I guess that's about it. Everything else stays the same. We'll decrease supplies and we'll decrease some of the expenses. So really, without really knowing what's going to totally happen, we tried really hard at state legislator to get an increase in state aid. We were not successful, but at least they didn't cut us. So we took that as a win. There is a slight chance if they go into special session, they'll relook at that. But with everybody else getting cut too, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. So bottom line, I think we'll be okay through 2026. We don't know what is going to happen, and so we just have to deal with, the next steps. Some of the new administrators across North Dakota are struggling. Many of them are brand new from COVID, so they really haven't been through more challenging times. And so I am worried about some of those agencies, and I'm not sure how they're going to continue if they don't get some additional funding, but I'm not sure where they'll get that. So anyway, do you have any questions for me? We have a little cash reserve, not a lot, but enough, I think, that will carry us through, again, with some of the things as far as the staff cuts. Probably won't do a raise unless, things look better come the end of the year, but it is what it is. It could always be worse.
What is COVID doing? Is there still some spikes? Or
Yes. So COVID will not, unfortunately, I hate to say this in public because I get, but COVID's not going to go away. COVID will be like flu, but COVID's a little different than flu in that it seems to cycle 1 or 2 times a year as opposed to just flu. Right now, there's a super strain out there that's called the razor blade strain, and super, super, super bad sore throat. And so they call that the razor blade because when you swallow, it feels like you're swallowing razor blades. And that will probably be the summer wave that's out there. I don't know what's going to happen with vaccines and the pushback of that. So yes, we'll probably see additional cases starting to show up here and there. As far as measles go, we have succeeded so far not to have them in our region. And if the state goes 42 days without a case, then we'll be considered measles free again. And I think we're on day 30, 32 or something. So we're getting close to that as well. Although that could recirculate again as well. But measles doesn't make me quite as nervous as some other thing we don't have a treatment for. Good question, though. Any other questions? Lots of sewers still coming up, so the environmental health guys are. So I don't know if Senate Bill 2267, I believe the septic bill passed. And so that will be for statewide septic code. I don't know that it'll affect us that much because we didn't really have problems, but if there's any changes that come across, we'll reach back to you because, again, you have requirements for septics as well, but we'll have to follow the state code as well. So we'll keep you posted if anything changes on that. I don't think we'll see much change in our region just because we've not really had any problems. But from septics to COVID, that's what we do. And white powder. We continue to work with Sarah, of course.
And next time she has white powder, she quit.
You have a suit now. You have a suit now. You're ready. I will never forget that. And then I'm helping my sister, not really helping. They're working calves, and they're like, this is an Al Heiser calf. And I'm like, I'm taking a picture.
I get this picture of a calf and I'm thinking, what else I can do?
Thank you guys for what you do. Thank you for working with us, and you know how to reach me.
All right.
Thank you.
Hopefully see you on the 31st.
It's at 5 or 6?
6. Yep. guys.
See ya.
You guys have a good tour.
Okay, financial? Anything?
So I don't have the bank accounts yet, you guys, because it's so close to the first. We're not done closing it yet. But I do have the oil and gas production. So we are, of course, 50% through the year. And we've already got 19 million. So I think we're going to come right in at our 38 million, right on budget for oil and gas. We're not going to go over this year. We're holding steady at $65 a barrel, but it's been so wishy-washy lately. I'm not sure what it's gonna do. Hopefully it'll sit there or go up to 70. I don't know, that would be prime, but I think we'll come right in at the 38 million for oil and gas. Well, one more thing, I sent out an email yesterday, just so you guys know. I emailed the state treasurer's office again and asked, because I had a question on our next federal mineral money payment, and we may not get one in September either, which is going to hurt us this year. But
They overpaid us?
Yes, they have overpaid the county, our county. Some of them they didn't, but it all has to do with refiling fees from other counties. And so all of that money had to be paid back to the government, and they overpaid some of us. It was just a mess. And that happened, I think, over the last 2 years. So once we get past, I did talk to Nicole, and she said that we will see something in December, but she's not sure what. So.
Just a little memo that says, here, you guys are still on our board.
Yes. And I did ask to be put in on all the emails moving forward. I'm not sure why they left us out, or I could have reported this back in May, but moving forward will be included. And if I hear anything, I'll let you guys know for sure.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened. How come I didn't?
Okay, bills. Vouchers, I guess.
Well, I make a motion to approve after you guys get through.
Yeah, I read them last night. I'll second it.
I did too.
Any more discussion on them? Any more discussion? If not, roll call.
Commissioner Heiser?
Yes.
Commissioner Olson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton?
Yes.
Tracy's on too, but she's still blocked out.
Okay. Anything else?
Motion to
Well,
adjourn.
Not on your weed department, would you? But the weed
Oh,
department.
that was,
The auction stuff?
what's that? That was just, they might want to add on to the building.
So Lisa, do we turn that over to the building committee? Eh? Okay. Well, process for.
They're looking, they just want to add on a couple bays or what?
Yeah.
Don't design it.
60 feet or something.
60 feet.
Well, there's always that.
I mean,
There's enough room
seriously.
on the lot there to do it.
Yep.
You know, with that being said, Craig, does it have to be designed by somebody? Can't you have some builder come add onto it and forget about all the?
They're gonna be doing the construction. Okay, so maybe not design, but they're gonna
But I mean,
have
that,
contractors.
but that's a little project, and it's not that big a building, it'd be, I don't know.
I mean, design shouldn't be that.
No, that would make sense. They could do the bid.
So we just, we'll
Built it
handle
the
that
first
at the
time.
building committee and start with there.
Okay. Bring it up for the next building committee.
I might not be at the next one, but
Might be halfway around the world.
yep. Thinking of you.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Will.
I said maybe.
Second.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Meeting adjourned.